might be working now. Let's give it a shot and see what happens, okay? So we're going to talk about writing an effective essay, all right? It's tricky because we're not going to write a whole essay right now. We're just going to practice really writing our introduction paragraph and a couple topic sentences. So today we're going to talk about how we write an essay, okay? Now, I know that looks like a lot, so just stay with me because here's what we're going to do, okay? We're going to look at a sample, okay? And that's what we're going to do today. Then you're going to practice to make sure you can identify each parts, okay? Then you'll write a draft, which is your first attempt. You'll edit that draft, which is your second attempt. And then you'll rewrite and revise and turn in your final attempt. Okay, that's the process we're going to do over the next 2 weeks. It seems like a lot, but remember, we're only doing one paragraph of writing plus 2 topic sentences. Okay, so it's going to be a little bit quicker than normal. All right, so let's look at our model. All right, here's a model sample that you guys would be looking to match its quality. Okay, so the prompt that this essay is talking about is, what challenges did Salva face in a long walk to water? Okay, that's the prompt. So what challenges did Salva face in a long walk to water? Tell me in the chat right now, what are some challenges that Salva faced in a long walk to water? What are some things that he had to get over and overcome? All right, he lost his uncle. Good. Yeah, saw his family die, friends and family dying. What else? All right, the water, he was alone, lost a friend, crossed the desert, refugee camps, crocodiles, getting shot at, walking with starvation, right? Tons of stuff you could choose from if you were writing this prompt. This is not your prompt, okay? So let's look at our next one. Or let's look at our introduction paragraph for this model essay. Okay, Linda Sue Park's novel, A Long Walk to Water, tells the story of one of the thousands of lost boys of Sudan. These boys ran from their villages during the Second Sudanese Civil War in the 1980s and had to keep moving from country to country to escape the violence of the war. Park's main character, Salva, is based on a real person who did survive this long journey despite the challenges of the war, the loss of his family, and the hostile environment of southern Sudan. That is a really good introduction paragraph. That probably gets you pretty close to a perfect introduction paragraph in my book. Okay, so let's keep on going here. Let's break this part down. You'll see that I have it highlighted as yellow, green, and red. And we're going to talk about each one of those parts. Okay, so the first purpose is that yellow is to engage your reader's attention. Grab your reader's attention. Okay. That first sentence needs to be so well written, so interesting that, like, boom, I want to read the rest of your paragraph. In my opinion, this first sentence over here is the worst part about this introduction paragraph. It could be a little bit better. Okay. But we'll come back to that in a little bit. The green part is the background information. Okay, you got to summarize the book a little bit here. Tell me what it's going about. But you notice they did it all in one sentence. You probably need 2 or 3 sentences to do it. They probably could use a little more, but it's on the right track. Okay, and then our red sentence is your answer to your prompt. It's your thesis statement. It includes your 3 purposes, your challenges that Salva had to overcome. Okay. Any questions so far about what we've looked at? All right. So just stay with me. Remember, I'm going to give you a copy of this and we'll work on this more as we go. Okay. All right. So the introduction of do's and don'ts. All right. What are we going to do in an introduction paragraph and what are we not going to do? All right. You must include the title and the author of the book. Okay. The title is going to be in italics. You saw it here. Okay. It's right there in italics already. They start off, there's the author and there's the italics. Okay. You do not and should not include a quote in this paragraph. No quotes here. Okay. There might be an exception where you put a quote in the hook, but we're going to encourage you not to do that right now. Okay. You're going to need several details from the book and your background information to summarize and let me know what's going on. All right. Those are your do's and don'ts. So let's look at the first sentence of your introductory paragraph. You heard me say already, it's called the hook. Okay. The first sentence should be broadly related to the topic. So it doesn't have to be super specific. You want to be real broad here and be incredibly interesting and attention grabbing. For example, can you imagine being 12 years old and having to walk through a desert with no food and water and being shot at and chased by crocodiles down the Gilo River? That might be a hook. That's a good question hook. And then you would go into and say something like, well, in Linda Sue Park's novel, A Long Walk to Water, Salva, the main character, had to face all of that. Okay. And that might be something you'd say. Your hook, you hook your reader with your first sentence of your introductory paragraph. You make your reader want to read more of your essay. You're going to put the most interesting thing you can think of that relates to this topic in that first sentence. Okay. I can't stress enough that it's got to get your reader's attention. If you just write, A Long Walk to Water is about a boy who journeyed across the desert, you left out a lot of good stuff there. Okay. Get some good stuff in there. Okay. Let's look at some examples about how to grab your reader's attention. Remember, I said we don't really want you to use a quote. There are times where a quote would be okay, but here's an example where you could use a statistic. It's hard to imagine 20,000 young boys wandering around the wilderness in search of safety. It's a pretty amazing statistic, but that's true. We know that's true from the Lost Boys. Here's another one, the idea of vivid description, which is the one I kind of did. Try to imagine sitting at your desk on a normal school day and suddenly all you can hear are guns firing and bombs exploding. Do you see how that's broadly related? It's not specific. It doesn't even mention the book or the character, but you get the main idea. Okay. The next one is a question. That's actually, I combined vivid description and a question. Okay. And I kind of did the same thing this author did. Can you imagine being forced to leave everything you know, your family, town, and country behind to escape war? All right. And then a bold statement, something that's going to blow your mind. The Second Sudanese Civil War fought between northern and southern Sudan was one of the longest running civil wars ever and left 4 million displaced, many of whom were young boys. That's amazing. 4 million displaced. That's a bold statement. Okay. And then finally, you can put your own idea here, but I can't express enough. Don't make it boring. Okay. So maybe stick to these first 4 things here when you go to write your introduction paragraph. All right. Now, the next part, we go hook as our first sentence, and the next 2 to 3 sentences with your background information is called a bridge. Okay. So after you get the attention, after you use your attention getter or your hook, you need to narrow down towards your thesis. So you're starting really big and you're going to kind of narrow it down to your thesis, your main point. So these next sentences here in the middle of your introduction paragraph are going to be your details from the book. You're going to give us background information from A Long Walk to Water. Now, if your prompt is about Nia, don't talk about Salva. If your prompt is about Salva, you don't need to talk about Nia. Stay focused on the part of your story that you're focused on. Okay? And then remember, always write as if I have never read the book before. Okay? So let's look at our bridge here. All right, we're still looking at our model essay. The red is our hook. Remember, I told you their hook could be a little bit better, right? And then here's their bridge. These boys ran from their villages during the Second Sudanese Civil War in the 1980s and had to keep moving from country to country to escape the violence of war. You might want to add something in there specifically about Salva. Salva was, running from his family and eventually became the leader of the Lost Boys and built wells, something like that. Okay. I know I'm throwing a lot at you right now. That's why I'm recording it so you'll be able to look at it, and we're going to practice this all week. Okay. So then we're going to continue with our thesis statement. This is the last sentence of your introduction paragraph and the most important. Okay. The purpose of a thesis statement is to provide your reader with the answer to the prompt. What were Salva's most challenging? What did he have to overcome? Well, we listed out 3 things. Okay. You provide structure for the essay because each one of your answers in your thesis is going to be the topic of your body paragraphs. And it has to be well written and clear because it sets up your whole essay. So let's look at this again from bridge to thesis statement. That yellow part's our hook, the green part's our bridge, and the red underline is our thesis. Okay? Does the thesis answer the prompt? Okay, so our prompt is, what challenges did Salva face in a long walk to water? So does the thesis answer? You said Park's main character Salva is based on a real person who did survive this long journey despite the challenges of war, the loss of his family, and the hostile environment of southern Sudan. Those are our three challenges in thesis statement. Okay, and then each of those things will be written about in a body essay. All right, in the body paragraphs. So if I have three challenges in my thesis statement, how many body paragraphs is this person going to have in their essay? Anybody there? There we go, Gus. Three. Three. You're going to have three. So if you have two reasons in your thesis, you'll have two body paragraphs. If you have three reasons, you'll have three body paragraphs. You have five reasons, you'll have five body paragraphs. I'll tell you how many reasons you have to have when you go to write yours. Okay? That's where we're going to stop there. So let's take a break for a second.